Okay, Bez Hashem, welcome to the first week. When the Rav spoke on Rosh Hashanah about how this year is a crucial year when it comes to appreciating Shabbos and Shmira Shabbos, we don't have a Shmira from the Shofar on a Daraisa level, at least this year. And as he brought from the Minchas Ani, that in years without the Shofar, it's been either very, very good or, unfortunately, the opposite. So, I was thinking we need to have maybe a chizuk. Certainly, I need to have a chizuk when it comes to inyanim of Shabbos. So that's why I volunteered to say this shir in Shabbos Malchusa. That's right. Rav Pinkus was the Rav of Ofakim, and his son is certainly now still a Rav in Ofakim as well. So it's only appropriate we should be learning from his sefer as well. Very good. Lamais, I don't know if any of you saw as well. Rav Zilperstein Shlita came out also that a person has to be mechazik in inyanim and Shabbos. Shabbos is what is making us. You can see also from even what happened on Simchas Torah, which was also on Shabbos, that the Yeshuvim that were Shomer Shabbos were actually saved from being attacked. There were two Yeshuvim in that area that were completely Shomer Shabbos, and the terrorists did not enter at all because the doors were closed. Right? They broke through the sophisticated fence around Gaza with all kinds of technological advances to protect themselves, but the little gate that protects for Shmira Shabbos, they couldn't break through because Shabbos protected them. And there was one other yeshuv also that was semi Shomer Shabbos, and there was a big fight about whether or not to close the gates. And ultimately, the Shomer Shabbos people won, and they closed the gates, and that yeshuv was also saved on that day. And the other night, a few nights ago on Motzei Shabbos, when they were the Hespedim for Baruch Mordechai, Rav Pilz spoke, who also, the Rosh Yeshiva at Tifrach, which is also one of the Yeshuvim right in that area, he also mentioned that there were very, very few people who were Shomer Shabbos who were killed. Just a handful out of we know how many. Very, very few. So, being mechazik in inyanim of Shabbos certainly is something that will help us, first of all, appreciate Shabbos more, but also in the long run, and even in the short run, will help protect all of Klal Yisrael. Like we say in Zemer, Ki Eshmer Shabbos Kel Yishmereini. If we guard the Shabbos, Hashem is going to protect us. And we see even Shabbos protects us. So we're going to use the Sefer, going to build off the Sefer of Shabbos Malchusa. Try to do this once a week. And hopefully it will give us more chashivus for Shabbos, more appreciation for Shabbos, and build what Shabbos is supposed to build. A lot of people don't know what Shabbos is supposed to do. That's how the Sefer starts off in the Hagdama. He says that people don't make an asik out of Shabbos because they don't know what Shabbos is. What is Shabbos supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing on Shabbos? Right here in the introduction, some of the section we'll read inside, some of it I will explain outside and prepare from beforehand. Here in the beginning, he said that's what he says. People don't make an asik out of Shabbos. Don't make a whole preparation. Obviously, we prepare for Shabbos, but we don't prepare for Shabbos the way we prepare for other Yomim Tovim. People prepare for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Whole Elul, you're preparing Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. We know there's a din coming. The Yom Kippur, we have to get ready. We have to do Cheshbon Nefesh. We've got to prove ourselves. We have to do Tshuva. People are preparing for Pesach. Pesach is the day of Geula. People taking out Haggadahs beforehand. They're studying the Haggadah. They're getting ready for Zman Cheruseinu. We're getting ready to become a new nation. Shavuos. A whole preparation for Shavuos, we build up, we're going to have Kabbalas Torah, an amazing thing. And all the Chagim have that. And what does Shabbos have? What is Shabbos? How do we connect to Shabbos? That what?
the window time is 6 days.
Right.
And people spend by it in like an hour or two.
Right, that's it. How much people, you spend a few hours getting ready for Shabbos. Yeah, some people do sponja, some people do the dishes, some people cook, right? You do everybody does something, but that's the preparation for what we need on Shabbos, right? Obviously, a person has to prepare what they need for on Shabbos also. We are mechavit Shabbos by cleaning up our homes, by getting dressed up. It's true, but what are we supposed to be, like, what are we supposed to be getting out of Shabbos? Other Yom Tovim, we know what we're supposed to be getting out of it. What are we supposed to be getting out of this Shabbos? And how much time does a person really spend thinking about it? How much time, right? Maybe here in Eretz Yisrael is a little bit better than in Chutz La'aretz because not everybody shows up, exactly the 18 minutes before candlelight. You show up from work, mamish. So here in Eretz Yisrael is a little bit better, where most of the people are not working on Friday, so at least they have a little bit more time, and you don't fall into Shabbos and fall asleep in your soup at the meal, right? Shabbos comes every week, so maybe we don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate it as much, but the truth of the matter is, we say every Shabbos that Shabbos is the Makor HaBracha. Shabbos is the source of all the bracha there is in the world, and Shabbos is really the source of all spirituality in the world. There's so many questions here. He brings at the end of the first section of the Hagdama. What does it mean to rest? We're supposed to be resting on Shabbos. Does Hashem need to rest? Does Hashem need us to rest? How does our resting show anything about Zeichel and Maaseh Bereishis, which we say every week in Kiddush? If anything, he says, I'm here on Daf Beis, in the third paragraph on the Daf. If anything, maybe you should do work. And that should show that Hashem created the world by doing work. Shabbos, being Shomer Shabbos, is equivalent to Avodah Zarah. In the Hagdama to Chelek Gimel of Mishnah Brura, Mishnah Brura writes a Hagdama to Shabbos, to Hilchos Shabbos. And there he says that keeping Shabbos is the only mitzvah that's on the same level as Avodah Zarah. If a person is a Machal Shabbos b'far Hesiyah, he has a din like a goy. Even if a person does any other Aveira, a terrible Aveira that he's chayiv misa for, and he did it on purpose, maybe even lahachis, he doesn't have a din of a goy. Only somebody who's Machal Shabbos b'far Hesiyah has a din like a goy, with the equivalent of Avodah Zarah, which is the worst Aveira in the Torah. Avodah Zarah is the worst Aveira in the Torah, like the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, that it's the Aveira that the Torah says, you have to be willing to die to not do Avodah Zarah. Also, those are learned from other drushes. They're not learned from the pasuk of V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. You have to love Hashem. It's only Avodah Zarah, and Shabbos is on that same level. Kol zeh siba shebe'emes kipshuto lo mevinin el Shabbos. We don't understand what does it mean. What is Shabbos? What is the essence of Shabbos? Memela lo yoidim eich lahapik et hatoeles hamirivos miprate sugyotzo shel Shabbos kodesh. We don't know how to take out the toeles of Shabbos. So that's why he wrote the Sefer over here. The Sefer is written about how to get out, how to really get out what should be taken out of Shabbos. How can we connect to Shabbos? Now he starts here at Chelek Bey, starting to explain the idea that Shabbos is Hashem's day. It's not our day. And I want to bring out, just from a logical perspective, something that's quite amazing in the world. Quite amazing. When you look at the way we in this world count time, the way we keep time, how is time kept? We have different measures of time. We have a day, we have a week, we have a month, we have a year. That's how we measure time. Classically, up until recent history, all of these things have been done astronomically. We keep time based on things that are happening in the world. Only recently has there been such a thing as a clock, where the new day starts at 12 o'clock, which is completely arbitrary. Who decided that that's when the new day should start? Somebody decided that at 12 o'clock it starts the new day. maybe for technical reasons to make things easier, but there's nothing in the world that tells you that the day should change at that point. Not only that, in the secular calendar, the whole secular calendar in and of itself is a little bit strange and wacky, to the point where about a number of hundreds of years ago they actually had to change the whole calendar because they realized they messed it up. The Jewish calendar, which is the most precise calendar on the planet, is measured based on astronomy. How is a day based? A day is based on the daytime and the nighttime. The new day goes based on sunset, or when 3 stars come out. And a day is counted the nighttime and the daytime. That's a whole day. That's how we count days. How do we count months? We count months based on the moon. There's a new moon. The moon grows. The moon shrinks. Every time there's a new moon, there's a new month. The year is also based astronomically. Here the secular calendar is a little bit closer because it goes based on how much time it takes the earth to circle around the sun. And also based on the mazalos, the zodiac. There are 12 mazalos. Each one corresponds to a month. What happens in a leap year is a little bit different, but not for now. There is one thing in the calendar that does not have an astronomical source. Only one thing, and that's the week. There is no astronomical source for the week. But yet in the entire world there's a week. I think throughout history there have been other nations that have tried to change the week. Instead of 7 days, it should be 6 days. It should be 10 days. It should be something different. But as we know, basically none of those things exist anymore. Everywhere in the world, a week is 7 days. The only source for such a thing is from creation. It is a proof that Hashem created the world. Because that is the only source for a week. 7 days. And Hashem didn't even create the world in 7 days. He only created the world in 6 days. So why do you have 7 days? This is a proof that Hashem created the world. And that's what the Mishnah Berurah writes in the Hagdama, that Shabbos is the source of our emunah. And that's what makes Shabbos so chashuv. It is the source that Hashem created the world. And that's what we say. We're remembering every week Hashem created the world. This is our emunah. We know that Hashem created the world. We know that He runs the world. And every week we remember that again and again. That's what we say every day. That's what we say every week. When we say Kiddush. This is what he says over here in the beginning of Ois Beis. Shabbos b'hagdaraso hamiduyek, as he in the second paragraph, Yoimo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's Hashem's day. Pesach, Klal Yisrael went through. Shavuos, Klal Yisrael got the Torah. Sukkot, Klal Yisrael is commemorating the Anan Yaakov that protected us in the Midbar. Rosh Hashanah is our Yom Adin. Yom Kippur is our Yom Kapara. Purim is our day of salvation as well as Hanukkah. Shabbos is not about us. Shabbos is about Hashem. Yom HaKadosh Baruch Hu, below kol shum libu yacher. There is no other reason. It is all about Hashem. Yom shebo yichud Hashem mitpashet al kol mitzius. Hashem is telling you, I am here. My name is everywhere in existence. The kol hanivra shoyvetes kol hanivra shovetu ubatel. Everything else has to be quiet. When Hashem is here, everything else shuts down. Everything else is quiet. Ve'ein od milvado. There is nothing but Hashem. We're going to see later on in the Sefer that this is the reason behind not doing malacha on Shabbos. Because we have to be quiet. Malacha on Shabbos involves a creation. It means we are creating something. No. On Shabbos there's no creation. We can't be doing anything on Shabbos. Shabbos is Hashem's day. I think the next paragraph brings this out very clearly. I'm going to read it inside. V'havein, you should understand. She'ena kavana shu yom she'ikro hasagas dveikus b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is not a day you're supposed to have dveikus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not a day that it's meant for dveikus. Is there dveikus? Yes. But it's not a day that's meant to be, that's the theme of the day. Ain't okay, that's not true. Amnam vaday sheB'Shabbos masigim dveikus. You certainly can have dveikus to Hashem on Shabbos. Well, zed davim dememela. That happens. That happens anyway. It's not the main point. Because it's Hashem's day and there's nothing but Hashem, so certainly we can have dveikus to Hashem on that day. More than any other day. But that's not the essence of Shabbos. Because then you would say, well, it's for us. It's another way for us to fill our pockets with ruchnius. Pesach is a day for us to fill our pockets with ruchnius of cherus. And Shavuos is a day for us to fill our pockets with Torah. And Sukkot is a day to fill our pockets with Simcha. And Yom Kippur, they all have days for our to'elis and ruchnius. Shabbos is not for our to'elis. Can we get something out of it? Absolutely, but that's not the point. There is dveikus. Shenimtzav dveikus. Ve'ein adavar kein she'ein etzem ha'mahus l'tzorech Yisrael klal. This Shabbos is not for Klal Yisrael. Shari rak achar shehaisa kvar kedusha Shabbos bo'olam az nitnu hi liYisrael b'matana. Shabbos came first. The idea of Shabbos came first. The to'elis of Shabbos came first, and then afterwards Hashem gave it as a gift to Klal Yisrael. But it existed before Klal Yisrael, without Klal Yisrael. There was no Shavuos, there was no Pesach without Klal Yisrael. But Shabbos there was. Aval etzem ha'husa Shabbos hi kula mitzido yisbarach. It's all from Hashem. It's all in Hashem's world. Yom sha'akol batul mevutul v'akadosh baruch hu yachi ba'aloimo v'esu lo midi. There is nothing else, only Hashem. In the next paragraph, he brings this out by saying that if it's such a ruchni day, it's such a kadosh day, so then it should be like Yom Kippur. Yeah, even Yom Kippur is referred to as Shabbos Shabboson, is referred to as a Shabbos. So it should be like Yom Kippur. We should be totally separated from Gashmias. We should just be totally immersed in Ruchnias all of Shabbos, because wow, what a holy day it is. But yet it's the exact opposite. On Shabbos, you're supposed to indulge in Gashmias. Even a person who is a Peiresh separates from Gashmias, on Shabbos he should dafka have. You should dafka have on Shabbos. Shabmori, that's a tasty thing, I want that. Have it. That's what you're supposed to do. How do you explain that? So at the end of the paragraph, he brings a motion. He says, you imagine for a second, there's a big gadol who's making a party. Big gadol, and you're invited. Wow, he's a chashuv. And you come in, he says, wow, you're here. Sit down. And he puts a whole maneh in front of you. You're not going to eat? He wants you to eat. He told you to eat. It's his party. You're not going to eat? No. I'm on a higher level than that. He's a chutzpah. You're going to this great person's party and you're not going to, he wants you to eat. So this is what Rav Pinkus explains. The reason why we indulge in Gashmias on Shabbos is because it's Hashem's party and Hashem wants us to do it. That's why. We don't understand necessarily why Hashem wants to do this. Such a holy day, let's be involved with holiness. No, Hashem wants you to eat. Hashem wants you to have a good time. You have to do Ratzon Hashem. Who are you to decide that, no, I want to be involved with other things? That's what you have to do. Now he asks, well, isn't that true of every mitzvah? Every mitzvah, it's Ratzon Hashem. Every mitzvah a person has to do, Ratzon Hashem, I have to do it, I don't ask questions. Why am I shaking a lulav? It seems like it's such a funny thing to do. I take a branch and I shake it, and then on the last day I beat it on the ground. And a different one I beat on the I do it because Hashem told me to do it. Because that's a mitzvah. So this is the same thing over here. Why is Shabbos any different? So he explains an amazing thing. This is Hashem's day. If Shabbos is Hashem's day, he's the Baal Bas. It's like he's here with us. It's his party. We're with him. He compares it to going to the Beis Hamikdash. When you're in the Beis Hamikdash, you're with Hashem. That's the Malkum Shruya, the Shechina Shruya. So it's not just that it's Ratzon Hashem, which every mitzvah is Ratzon Hashem. You have to keep the mitzvah. Every single mitzvah is like that. It's much more than that. Hashem is Taka here. Hashem is here with us. If Hashem is here with us, how can I do my own thing? Hashem wants me to do this mitzvah and he's right here with me. Of course I have to do it. That's what Shabbos is. Shabbos is Bechinas Beis Hamikdash. He has a whole parak on this later on in the Sefer. That Shabbos has a Bechina of Beis Hamikdash. Just like the Shechina is Shrui in the Beis Hamikdash, so too Shechina is Shrui on Shabbos. A person is in a different world because the Shechina is here. Our job, essentially, is don't mess it up. Don't get in Hashem's way. Let Hashem be seen over the whole world. Let the whole Bria be quiet because now Hashem is here. That's our job. And once we do that, Memela we're going to be davak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Once the Shechina is here, of course we're going to be davak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Memela, not because we're doing anything, but more because we're not doing. By not doing, we're making space. Right? What does it mean we're making space? We're saying, I'm on the side over here. This is Hashem's day. So I'm going to, like a Kibiyachal Chasen. Yeah, whose party is this? This is my party? Of course I'm coming and having a good time at the party. But it's the Chasen's party. It's the Chasen and the Kalah's party. It's their simcha. So Memela, I'm going to have a good time too. Because I'm being sameach with their simcha. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's day. And that's why it's very, very different. We're going to see why is it, and that's the Makor. That's the Makor HaBracha. All Ruchnias comes from this. All comes from Shabbos. Here Makor HaBracha. So it makes sense as well. Why this protects us? Hashem is talking here with us. If Hashem is here with us, so I'm worried. I just saw today an article by Ramosha Wolfson. Should live and be well at Meir Be'esu. That he said, when we go to war, what do you think? We're going to war? You think it's the Americans that are helping us? If Hashem is going to war, Hashem is there for us. We just can't. We have to bring in the schusim. We have to be zoicha for it. But Hashem is the one who's fighting the war for us, and it's always been that way. It's always been that way. The more room we make for Hashem, the more that Shabbos will become part of us. The more that we'll appreciate Shabbos, the more that Shabbos will become meaningful for us. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that's the plan. That's what I hope to be doing a little bit every day. So let's say coming for this Shabbos, we can think a little bit more. It wasn't intentional to be this way, but when is the beginning of the new week for Shabbos? Is Yom Revi, which is why we say in the Shir Shel Yom, on Yom Revi, we start saying L'chun Ramana. In Shir Shel Yom, we're starting the second half of the week, which is the lead into Shabbos. So with this Shabbos, we can come already starting with, Hashem, this is your day. I'm walking to shul, I try to think to myself, Hashem, it's Shabbos. Shabbos proves that you created the world. Shabbos is your day, and everything else has to be quiet on Shabbos in order for you to be seen in the whole world. We can start with that. Slowly, it can seep in, Be'ezrat Hashem. We can appreciate Shabbos so much more, and it becomes so much more meaningful to us. Okay, shkoyach. We're going to stop over here.